What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another AMS movie reviews. This isn't going to be on a documentary series based on the history of Warner Brothers, who is celebrating 100 years of storytelling, and this is on available on Max, formerly known as HBO Max. It is a 4 episode series. I'm going to give you a little bit of my review that I put on Instagram. It spans generations and generations where Warner Brothers, it started off with 4 guys who were actually brothers. And throughout the times, they dealt with the changes of just the history of movies. And for me, myself, I'm a film fan and I enjoy the history of all these movie studios. Um, I support watching every single one, and they started off with um, films that you would say weren't popular, like gangster at the time, gangster films, cowboy films. Then they even dabbed in musicals. Then you would get the eras of the TV sitcoms like Friends. And to all my uh, Friends fans out there, that TV show just skyrocketed through another level. And then for it's not in a mean way, but the nerds out there, I consider myself a nerd. Um, they did a show about the called The Big Bang Theory, and it's just so interesting how a movie studio gained the trust of so many directors and actors, and a lot of them get interviewed during this series. You get the likes of Martin Scorsese, who has done many films with Warner Brothers. You get George Clooney, Christopher Nolan, Steven Spielberg, Oprah Winfrey. Um, the list just goes on and on. They reference films like The Goonies, the Harry Potter franchise, The Matrix. Before Christopher Nolan, in his early stages, he started off with Warner Brothers, and he did films like Inception, Interstellar, and something that became successful in a way was, or a new adaptation storytelling, was the reintroduction of Batman. The last time we saw it was George Clooney's Batman, and he even references it how it was just really to sell toys and it didn't get that much critical acclaim. Not until when Michael Keaton did Batman, and just how it kept it grounded, and just the storytelling and arc of a comic book character that has been around for more than 80 years. It gave you the history of storytelling through aspects of different ethnicities. It introduced the film Selena, starring Jennifer Lopez, and the Latins, or the singer, had a famous career, and unfortunately, she passed away. Um, and then later on down the line, if you all haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Crazy Rich Asians. The TV show Roots gets mentioned. It's just fascinating and interesting, and I thought it was another movie studio on what I'm about to mention, but overall, it was The Exorcist, and I have some family members that don't care to watch it because it's just one of those that it's eerie. And I guess even when it came out back then, they even interviewed people that it was just eerie and just gut wrenching to see in a way. Kind of like how when Jaws came out back then, that people were still afraid or afraid to go in the water. And it was one of those that it was just they just go little by even though it's only 4 episodes, they give you a lot, and they show you the ups and downs, and they even give you the introduction of these guys right here. They're the OGs. As Disney created their characters, Warner Brothers decided to create these guys. And it's just a vast majority of so much history that it's one of those that, like I said, if you're a fan of film, this is something for you. If you're a fan of all the Warner Brothers content from right now till back then, as you can see right here in the image, it spans over 100 years. And if you were to go on a Max, I need to go start watching a lot of older films that have been around that span back in the 50s and 60s. Even a film to some of you that have seen it, uh, don't at me yet, but I would want to see a film like Casablanca. And they show the behind the scenes of the making of that movie and the importance and certain aspects, what led to creating it. And a lot of these movies leave lasting legacies. And if you've seen my podcast, it's one of those where all of these people, you have reporters, you have reviewers, actors, actresses, and they give you their different aspects of what led them to their career and just their passion in the art of film. And that's what Warner Brothers has did back then and does till this day. It's even referenced, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, superhero movies, the aspect of creating a superhero world, just as another company did it currently right now with another movie studio. And really, it was one of those where I was just left in amazement. I'm gonna give this a high score, a 10 out of 10. It was I enjoyed it. I if maybe I would knock it down only if I could probably look and see if that they left certain things out, or they could still have added. There's probably a whole bunch of list of movies once you see it that should be recognized for the artistic work. And I don't know if I mentioned The Matrix is another one where I didn't initially see it once it was released. I think it was released in early 2000s, but I originally saw it maybe a few years later, and that was one of those where technology was still advancing, and just the art and the imagery of everything that led to it was just fascinating to see. So, like I said, check this out if you have HBO Max. I keep wanting to say it, formerly known as HBO Max, now currently Max. It's a 4-part docu series. Let me know if you've seen it already or you plan to see it. Your thoughts. And just a quick thing: uh, Disney is also celebrating 100 years, and I'll just say that they should create something like this. Universal just recently celebrated 100 years. They have a streaming platform. They should also create a 100th anniversary type thing, because all these movie studios have a vast majority of storytelling. And like I said in my very first episode, we watch movies to escape, to be a part of this world, to possibly become creators in the storytelling, or just explain what defines us in all of these movies. And a vast majority of the movies that Warner Brothers has done, I would say, are on my list of favorites. That could be an episode on my podcast for another day. But that's pretty much it. Thank you all so much for watching this review of Warner Brothers 100 Years docu-series. It's only 4 episodes. Let me know what you all think once you see it. Thank you all for watching. Bye-bye for now.